Greeting everybody. Welcome to another exciting episode of Dabbling with Dan. Today, Dan is going to be dabbling in rebuilding a vacuum gas pump off my 1995 Skidoo snowmobile. The brand name is Mikuni. And of course, this unit is well over 20 years old. And the problem I was having with it was I got the vehicle running, it ran fine. When I gave it throttle, it would run, and then all of a sudden it would just drop off, like it was actually running out of gas. When I opened up the hood and looked inside here, you can see air bubbles on the gas lines. These gas lines are going up to the two carburetors. This is where the gas comes out of the gas tank and is connected to, and this is a vacuum line. One of the first things I noticed too is when I pull this out, see how easily this turns? That shouldn't be that way. If this is a vacuum line, it has to have a tight seal. That means gas is getting through. So we're going to replace this and these gas lines because they're very old. But if you see the new gas lines, there's quite a big difference in just the flexibility compared to these new ones that I got. Okay, so let's go ahead and talk about this fuel pump. This fuel pump, you can purchase a new one online. They run about $40. However, the rebuild kit only costs $10, and I thought, what's the fun in that? Just to buy one and just replace it? Let's tear into this because I've always wanted to see what's inside one of these. I'm going to go ahead and lay this down at an angle so you kind of see it's kind of like a cake, a layer cake. You have your base plate, center plate, and top plate. So the first thing I want to do here is, one, I'm going to go ahead and remove these lines, and they have these little clips. Okay, since the hoses are now off, next thing I'm going to go ahead and do is remove the top. So as I remove the top, I'm going to go ahead and roll that over and set it off here to the side. The first thing I'll have is a real thick gasket. And we'll set that in the junk pile, followed by a thin plastic membrane. And I'm trying to look to see if there's any holes in there, but that doesn't look like there's any. And then there's a fine, thin gasket. All this is going to be replaced with the new stuff. Again, the center part of this fuel pump, I'll go ahead and lift on up. And we also have another plastic membrane and a thin gasket. And we'll set that off the side, as well as a thick base gasket. Now the best thing to do here is put this thing back together so I can remember how these parts go. But I want to point out something. Inside this middle piece, there's two plastic discs with a rubber grommet on this side and that side. To get this orientation, this is where the gas comes in, and as you get vacuum from the motor, it will pump fuel from this cavity to here, through this disc, and then out into the carburetors. So I'm going to go ahead and set that down right like that. And this kit came with two new ones. as well as all the gaskets that I need. And that was perfect. So I will share with you all, I did tear this apart and I already replaced these, and they weren't difficult to do. You just pulled the old ones out, then you push the other ones in and you kind of turned it and it sat in there. All right, now to rebuild this, there's kind of a little bit of a dip. And I want to go ahead and get these gaskets lined up just right. I'm going to go ahead and set that like that. Okay. And if you guys remember, there was a plastic membrane. Let me get all this dirt off. I'll set that down there like so. And then there was a thin Now, here's another thing. There's a little bit of a notch on these gaskets. So I want to line up the notch here also with the previous gasket in the proper orientation. And I'm going to use this little screwdriver. I've actually got a couple of them here to line up my holes. Okay. Those are lined up just right. Now, by mounting this on this wood board, I kind of talked to you a little bit earlier about the gas in. So I know the gas in is this way, so I'm not putting this on in the wrong orientation. Plus, there's that notch that kind of helps you guide it. I'm going to go ahead and lower this down. And again, I'm going to use my little screwdrivers here just to line up my gaskets with my holes. And once that's acquired, I will then pull them out. Now the next is this other gasket. It's kind of the thin one, followed by my membrane. And I'll use my screwdrivers to line those holes up. Followed by the thicker gasket. And I'm going to go ahead and try to line these holes because that shifted on me. Okay. Pull that straight up. And now, put the top piece on. Again, both carburetor fuel lines are facing up as well as the vacuum. I'll go ahead and lower that right down on that. Use a screwdriver here to line up my holes. And then now I will insert the screws. And they should line up all the way to the base plate. I'll put a couple of them in here. Kind of get them started. I'm going to go ahead and reinsert the gas hoses. Rebuild didn't take very long. We've got 2 new gas lines on and a brand new vacuum. It doesn't rotate like the other one did. I'm putting actually a lot of force into that. So I'm going to go ahead and remove this from the board. So this project didn't take very long. Again, I've been kind of curious about how these actually worked. I have a better understanding of that. All the bolts are torqued down and this thing's ready to go back into the snowmobile. I'll try to start it up a little bit later on. Hope you guys all enjoyed this video. Thank you for tuning in. And if you like my channel, just go ahead and subscribe and hit the little bell. And whenever I download a video, you'll be able to see what Dabbling Dan is into. Thank you very much for looking. I hope you have a good day. Everyone take care.